cities to rubble, forced mass expulsions, false flag operations, riots defending grape culture, and extreme systematic oppression. You see, there are many notable areas of Israeli brutality we could cover, but today we are going to focus on the daily terror happening in the Palestinian West Bank. Right now, over 700,000 illegal Israeli settlers are currently taking over internationally recognized Palestinian land, and these settlers are backed by the Israeli military, armed by American guns, and funded in part by Zionist Christian church donations. Folks, this episode is brutal. We are covering mob violence, arson, farmers being attacked, animals being tortured for fun, and we even interview an American dad whose son was beaten to death by Israeli settlers.
And guys, man, you already know, man, they're gonna try to hide this video from you, so make sure you're double tapping the screen and liking the video, guys. Let's get those likes up and get more people on the conversation. Let's start exposing the truth.
Uncover the truth. We sat down with those that have seen and lived this firsthand. You are going to hear from former U.S. Marines, Palestinian Americans, an IDF soldier, and even a Jewish survivor of Nazi occupation who now speaks out against Israel. Folks, we have the raw footage to back up everything I'm about to tell you. However, we have to edit it carefully as most of it is too horrific to be allowed on YouTube. Folks, a quick disclaimer. I love my life, I love my family, and I am in perfect health. Another thing to address is we know this video is going to be shadow banned hard. So I'm asking you, the viewer, to help me fight against the algorithm. Hit the like button, write a comment, and imagine every single one of these actions as a salute against this Israeli behavior. Let's dive into the video. Folks, I'm about to go ask some people that have had boots on the ground experiences in the West Bank. But to prepare for these interviews, I'm going to use a partner of the channel, the sponsorship of today's episode, Straight Arrow News. I've relied on them in the past to be better informed. And so I'm going to look up in their app right now, Israel, see what some of the latest things happening are. We see that Israel has approved 19 new settlements in the occupied West Bank. And unsurprisingly, that 2 were killed by Israeli military in the West Bank, including a teenager. This is a platform I use. I'm a huge fan of non-biased media. We have all these news corporations that give you an angle. They want almost like a propaganda cycle. I rely on news networks that give us straight facts, Straight Arrow News. And so I heavily recommend you download them on your phone. It's a free download. So if you use this QR code, it's a no-brainer. You are more informed, more educated of what's happening in the world. And this is an app that I regularly use to prepare for my stories. Do yourself a favor. Give them.
Here.
My name is Kamel. I'm a U.S. American citizen. My son, Saif, who was also an American citizen, was beaten to death by Israeli settlers.
I want people to get an idea of what life is like in Palestine and in your village in Sinjar, where this all happened.
You get up in the morning, you got to find out where's the checkpoints that day. This is how it is, Tommy.
Oh, guys, like I said, any question, comments, jokes, or disagreements, you can go ahead and super chat it in, just $2 and up, or, well, you can send it in through a Venmo as well. And if not, please support the show by double tapping that screen. Let's get more people in on the conversation, guys.
They can put a barrier anytime that they want. Looks like they're closing the road here because they have a gate in front of this village of Turmus Aya, and anytime they want to close it, they close it. Last night, they had this new road that we made between my village and a neighboring village. They were happy about this road, man. It's all new asphalt put on this road. The Israeli authority came, just demolished the whole road.
With a bulldozer.
With the bulldozer. Just because, basically. They just want to make life as hard as they can on the Palestinians.
In an area, we could say about the size of Delaware, that this land is, that they have 702 checkpoints set up.
And only growing.
My name is Mohammed Daoud. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I'm a security provider, and I'm the co-founder of PalShield. My name is Bilal Daoud. I'm a cybersecurity specialist, and I'm a co-founder of PalShield, where we track settler violence and protect Palestinian communities.
The topic of the story is life under Israeli occupation. Do you think that's a fair title?
Perfect title for what we're all dealing with in the West Bank.
And what makes it life under occupation?
Everything from as simple as wanting to get to school, say building a well. And water scarcity, it's the Middle East, so the water under your feet is regulated and watched by the Israeli authorities.
I'll tell you how many stories we know on a personal level of women like giving birth on a checkpoint because they wouldn't clear them to go to the hospital. I mean, it's just crazy.
What do you think the Israeli goal is in all of this?
Displacement, land theft. In the context of Palestine today, they want it all without the Palestinians. So they want the land without the people.
Damn.
They are extremely calculated, and
Hey, bro was upfront about that. He's like, no, we're literally trying to remove these people off their land because we believe it's ours, and God promises to us 3,000 years ago. Wah, wah, wah.
know how to slowly push people out.
My name is Clyde. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran, Christian, who visited Palestine to expose the truth of what's going on, and I'm here to expose the truth of Christian Zionism in America. As soon as you drive in, it is clear as day. Like I said, you can see the difference between the Palestinian village, and it would have barbed wire fences around it. They would cordon them off and literally block them in. So like a village would be its own little camp, its own like kind of concentration camp. And at times the Israeli military will go in and they'll lock those gates up so that the Palestinians literally can't leave their village. Once they get out of their little village, if the gates open, they leave. I used to think it was 700, but I just confirmed it's over 900 checkpoints within the West Bank. And the West Bank is a tiny plot of land. The whole of the Holy Land is like the size of New Jersey. The West Bank is a tiny little chunk of that. Research can only paint so much of a picture. When you go there, it's completely different. You see it firsthand, you feel it firsthand, and how it actually literally is an open air prison.
Folks, to understand the modern settler movement, let me take you back to 1968. Meet Rabbi Moshe Levinger. For him, evicting hundreds of thousands of Palestinians to build the land of Israel was not enough. He wanted more land. So he organized a militant following that had one clear mission: cross over the border and take the West Bank. So he brought his radical crew to the city of Hebron and went to an Arab innkeeper and said they would be spending one night to celebrate a peaceful Passover tradition. But in typical Israeli fashion, he lied. In fact, his crew woke up the next morning and declared that this inn was theirs and that the hotel owner needed to leave. And at this point, they were surrounded by the Palestinians that actually lived there, and Rabbi Levinger put the Israeli government in a pickle. They could decide to drag Levinger's crew out by force, or they could send in the military to protect them. And afraid of the terrible optics of evicting illegal squatters, the Israeli government sent in the military. And folks, this is the same playbook that you see in use today. Israeli settlers will lie, cheat, and take by force land that is not theirs, play the victims, and then call in the IDF to protect them.
You are stealing my house.
AKA come onto your land, push you off it, and then when you come try to take it by force, yeah, they got the IDF out there waiting to shoot your ass up, because now this is well, their land. So pretty much all these guys got to do is walk into your house. If you're a Palestinian, all they got to do is walk into your house, claim this is my land, harass you out of there, a gang of them, you and your family going to get harassed out of there. Then when you finally come back with some of your Palestinian homies to take it back, the IDF is right there ready to shoot y'all. Wild.
If I don't steal it, someone else is going to steal it.
And to be clear, to everyone except for Israelis and Zionists, this is known as breaking international law. This land is not theirs.
And there are currently 144.
Oh, guys, man, let's get the 300 likes by double tapping that screen and liking the video, guys. They don't want you to see this, so let's make sure we are double tapping that screen and pushing this video in the algorithm.
Settlements in the occupied West Bank, including East Jerusalem, all illegal under international law.
But just look at how Israeli far-right leader Ben Gvir feels about the way that they take over land. This guy is actually broadcasting the Israeli plan to the world. It's an equation that involves supremacy, forced evictions, and the military bulldozing the generational homes of the Palestinians. And folks, in a way, we are the ones enabling it, because right now, both our tax dollars and our American weapons are being used to do this by our so-called greatest ally.
And so in the West Bank, it's total occupation. I'm sure you've heard of the area A, B, and C.
By splitting these areas into areas A, B, and C, they established different rules for these different areas. So areas A, you didn't have any Israeli authorities in there. You had the Palestinian Authority. Areas B, where we live, is under Palestinian civil administration. So, for example, we have a village council. But in terms of
security control, that's all under Israel. Even though Area A is technically supposed to be under full PA authority, we know, well, it's not, because these areas get raided all the time by the Israeli Defense Forces.
The ones who live in the PA have their own area I can't go in. They can come into the joint area.
So area A, there's no IDF, there's no settlers.
There is IDF operations targeting terrorists, and that's in and out, but not a presence. You want to have IDF presence in those areas.
The IDF's purpose in the West Bank, not only as an occupation force, but is solely to protect the settlers that are living there. Since the 60s, 70s, the settlers have become more militarized, and you have a good solid, I don't want to exaggerate, between 50 to 100,000 armed men, right? Settlers, these guys are many of them are probably IDF reservists as well. So you have a clash. I mean, it's not a conflict of interest because it is the same goal. We see the settlers and the army as one and the same.
The Hilltop Youth, are they employed?
They look like hillbilly Jews, bro. That shit looks funny as hell. Hillbilly Jews. They look crazy.
They have the time to just stand around all day to wait for a Palestinian vehicle.
They're paid. Also, they like to swap them out every few months too, to kind of get some new blood.
Stop it!
Let's dive deeper into the Hilltop Youth. They are largely made up of Israeli high school dropouts, and many are known to have learning disabilities and behavioral disorders. These guys believe the West Bank is their divine right promised to them by God, and they follow radical leaders like Mayor Ettinger, guys who extremist networks are tied to horrific crimes like firebombing a Palestinian couple and their 18-month-old baby to death. And guys,
it's so crazy because there's literally people in America who support this type of atrocities. But if it was to ever happen to them, they'd call it, oh my God, it's terrorism. Look what they're doing to us. Oy vey. But they do it to other people and they say, well, it's our divine right. Oh my God. People like that honestly make me sick. And not all Jews think like this. Not all Israelis think like this. Thank God. But it is disturbing how we got Zionist Christians who think like this. And, people in our own country who actually think that this is a sane thing to do. And then I know some of y'all in the chat right now thinking that this is okay.
Sheep are the secret weapon of the Hilltop Youth. You see, they bring their sheep to graze on Palestinian land, and then they violently attack any Palestinian that comes near them, and thus begins the takeover of the land. And this approach works. Since October 7th, settlers have permanently expelled 76 different Palestinian communities. And it's so out of control that even the head of Israel's own intelligence agency, the Shin Bet, has publicly condemned their actions as, quote, Jewish terrorism. They said it, not me. And folks, despite this, the Israeli military...
If you don't know what the Shin Bet is, the Shin Bet is Israel's version of the FBI. So even their own FBI is going bro, this is literally terrorism. What the F are y'all doing? But I mean, it's Israel. I mean, it's Israel's FBI. They'll say something, but they won't do nothing.
Continues to help them with their crimes.
I know that the settlers have little militia groups. So it's a joint effort from the Israeli military, the Israeli police, and the settlers. So when settlers go in and they harass the Palestinians, the military is not going to come in.
Somebody says, Muslims think like that too. No, they don't, because why are there Jews in Iran? And Iran has not taken land from no Jews. They have taken land from no Christians. But I mean, that's what's happening in Israel. Israel's taking land from Christians that are also Palestinians, by the way, and they're taking land from, Muslims as well. So it's kind of wild how people want to sit there and be like, Muslims are doing the same thing, bro. Even the most radical Muslim country, Iran, one of the most radical Muslim countries, even they don't do this to their Jewish minority. Even they don't do this to their Christian minority. But Israel does, and you guys champion it like crazy.
And intervene and stop the settlers from killing or damaging property. They're going to enable it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw that video of that settler who beat the woman over with a stick.
You got it. Oh, come on, don't.
And you see somebody say, bro, I just reported your account because I'm mad that you're exposing the Israelis because I like genocide. I like kicking Arabs off their land. I like to do it, so I'm going to report you. It's like, man, bitch ass. No, I'm sorry. I was about to go all the way there with you. But I'm sorry, but crybaby ass dude, go somewhere else. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like, look, the truth is right in front of you, bro. Go check your peoples.
Hey! Oh my God. Hey!
She was just harvesting olives, bro.
During the olive harvest, for many Palestinian families, is like one of their main sources of income throughout the entire year. And so the first.
And shout out to TB, a member for 17 months. Hey, appreciate the support, sis. He said, it's really easy to say, do something, but we don't know what to do either. I mean, you know, I would say this. If you was to write your congressman or we just complain to our politicians like, yo, can you guys actually stop the Israelis from, you know, doing this in the West Bank? Because, you know, Donald Trump and JD Vance both condemned this action. You know, the United Nations also sees this as breaking international law as well. But for some reason, if it's the Israelis, we just let them break international law. And if it's the Israelis, we let them ignore what the president says. And nobody sees a problem with that. And that's why we low-key doubt yours. I'm sorry, but this is why we doubt the Zionist loyalty. This is why we doubt the Christian Zionist loyalty, because you guys seem to be more loyal to Israel than you are to the United States. Like, are you serious?
Thing that Israeli settlers will do is they'll attack those crops. They'll burn those trees down. They'll attack livestock. They will drive their ATVs in grazing areas and run over livestock. They'll force a family away from while they're harvesting their olives, and then steal the bags that are already been filled. I mean, it doesn't stop with them. Anything you can imagine they do, they do.
Is it encoded into the psychology of an Israeli to hate the Palestinians?
Yeah, it's ingrained in their society from birth.
Hey, bro, can you imagine invading somebody's land, kicking them off it, and then telling them they're the problem of the world? When y'all have committed nothing but straight terrorism on the Palestinian people. Can you imagine playing the victim in that scenario when y'all the ones who took their lands? Like, that is crazy. And they're the plague on the world. I mean, last time I checked, the Palestinians wasn't the one getting kicked out of over 100 countries. I'm just saying, if since we want to go there.
They're so brainwashed that they believe stealing Palestinian land is the right thing to do.
For those that think it's ridiculous to label Israel as an apartheid state, don't take it from me. Take it from the words of a man that literally invented the system of apartheid in South Africa, their Prime Minister, Hendrik Verwoerd.
Our policy is one which is called by an Afrikaans word apartheid.
When asked about Israel, he bluntly stated, Israel, like South Africa, is an apartheid state. And that's from the OG of apartheid. Folks, we're talking about miles of fences, segregated road systems, and military force being used to bulldoze and kick people off their own land. I mean, it even goes as far as people are getting the shit kicked out of them for praying or for trying to attend a funeral of one of their friends or family members that was killed by the Israelis. This is simply how life is in the West Bank.
My name is Ido Amiaz, aka the Saluki. My mission is to continue the work that I'm doing, my journalism in the occupied West Bank, and to demonstrate life under occupation.
Oh, guys, got any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements? I'll be happy to read it out loud, engage with it, and post it to the screen, just $2 and up. And if not, hey, man, double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support.
I've sacrificed quite a bit. In fact, I was taken by Israel and I was held in a mental institution for 17 days. They made a claim that because I'm going around the West Bank, this was at the very beginning of the genocide after October 7th, that I'm out of my mind and that I'm a risk to myself. If you're a risk to yourself or a risk to others, then you may be hospitalized, according to Israel. So I was held in a mental hospital, and the only way I got out of there is by dropping about $10,000 on lawyers.
Folks, we are told by our government and mainstream media that one of the reasons we have to support this behavior is because Israel is the only remaining bastion of democracy in the Middle East.
The UN was obsessively hostile towards Israel, the one true democracy in the Middle East.
But let me ask you this. Do you think it's democratic to have the reputation of killing more journalists in this conflict than ever before in history? And ask the Israeli citizens, are you not being censored from publishing videos of missile strikes in your own city? And finally, let's talk about the press.
Yeah, like people are getting thrown in jail for pretty much publishing missile strikes in Israel. Basically, no more freedom of speech, no more freedom of press. If you saw us getting our teeth kicked in, you're going to jail. Like, and that's what they've been on.
Both foreign and Israeli, it is well known that they have to submit their stories to the IDF censor department to get approved, and that this department has the power to kill any story that they don't want coming out. This is the democracy that we're fighting for?
One of the worst things I've heard or seen, a dear friend of mine, Auda Haflin, he was shot by an Israeli settler. What was his crime? The Israeli settlers brought equipment to tear down houses and olive trees within his village. And him and some of the Palestinians, I'm not sure if even he did, threw rocks at them in retaliation, and he caught a bullet. Guess what happened to the Israeli settler? Nothing. He was 3 days in house arrest, and now he's walking free. Yinon Yelevi, his name is.
This sense of entitlement and superiority is prevalent in the average Israeli. Obviously, if you go somewhere like Tel Aviv or Haifa, where people are more chill, then they wouldn't have a problem with Palestinians. And
all right, no, TB, well, I get it. You're not trying to argue with me, but let me go ahead and let me give you a good picture of it. So the problem is that, look, if you're going to take somebody's land, you got to understand there's going to be resistance behind that. AKA, you can't sit there and call a group of people terrorists when you took their land and now they're fighting for it back. That's the crazy part. So think about it like this. When we took the Indians' land, did they not fight us back? Yeah, they did. And we had to reconcile. We had to compensate to get these guys off our ass. So what the Palestinians are doing, if you respect what the Indians did back then, you respect what the Palestinians are doing now. People occupied their land, and then even when they low-key kind of bent the knee to it, they're not even getting the fair terms that they have agreed to. Like international law, bro, West Bank, bro, that's Palestinian land, according to international law that the Israelis has been violating, aka taking land. And the problem with that is that when these people start fighting back like Hamas did with Gaza, I mean, can you really sit there and blame Hamas then if you're okay with people fighting back when their rights have been trampled upon, when their land has been taken? I'm just saying, like, all right, cool. If you're okay with taking land, then you have to be okay with the reaction from it as well.
They might believe in a two-state solution, but at the end of the day, the majority of Israel is not Tel Aviv and Haifa, where people are more open-minded and left-leaning. The majority of Israel are cities like Ashdod, like Nahariya, where I was born, where people do think that they're simply better than other people.
What are some examples of the things that Israeli settlers are doing to people right now?
We could start with, burning the land, burning crops, burning homes, throwing rocks at vehicles, sometimes fire bombs, sometimes shooting at these vehicles. You might have a Palestinian ambulance, and they'll literally pull up in front of the ambulance and slow down. These are just basic Israeli settler civilians, hoping that the person injured or whatnot would essentially die off. It's a loathing and a hatred that I don't think I've seen really in any other version of, like, any other conflict. There's a sense of entitlement to these settlers. They really seriously believe that the land that we are under, that we've been around, that we've lived in, that our heritage is built around, is theirs by God.
They were given basically M16s to anyone that wanted to go get.
Where do those M16s come from?
USA.
Yep, you heard that right. We are sending American guns to Israel, and they are getting handed out by guys like Ben-Gvir to Israeli settlers that then in turn use them to attack Palestinians, some of which are Palestinian Americans. And it got so bad that in 2023, the Biden administration halted the sale of rifles to Israel because of all these settler attacks. Ah yes, our greatest ally is using our own guns to attack Americans.
You know what's crazy? People say, well, Palestine isn't even in the Bible. I don't know. I got the New Testament right here in my hand, guys. Like, I literally got it right here in my hand. I have it right here in my hand, and then I go all the way to the back, and then I see something crazy. Like, can anybody like see that out? What does that say at the bottom there? Does that say Palestine over here in the back? What in the back of the Bible, in the back of the New Testament, recognizing Palestine? Am I tripping? Oh, but it's not in the Bible though. Okay.
And innocent Palestinians. How wonderful. For those not familiar, Ben-Gvir is a far-right Israeli politician known...
I'm probably surprised a lot of you who actually thought I was Muslim, by the way.
for his bloodlust and eradicating Palestinians. He's the type of guy that enjoys wearing noose pendants on his shirt for fun. And here he is celebrating the recent law that legalized the death penalty for Palestinians. And this has widely been criticized as a racist apartheid law. As long as Ben-Gvir remains alive, he will be a guy that advocates for the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians entirely.
So the American taxpayer money is going to Palestine, to Israel, using it to kill Americans. Remember, our village is 80% American.
So me and you are both two American entrepreneurs who've paid a lot in taxes. What does it make you think when your hard-earned tax money is going to the death of your sons?
It kills you knowing that your own money funded people that directly had something to do with the murder of your own son.
Dude, oh man, I could. You want to talk about the foreign
bro,
aid?
Shut your dumb ass up. I'm sorry, that's the dumbest thing. You support the elimination of Jews? No, I support the elimination of stopping the Jews' crimes against the Palestinians. Like, that's what I want eliminated. I want the crimes eliminated. Stop doing them. Stop trying to take Wayne out of the West Bank. Stop trying to put the Palestinians in an open-air concentration camp in Gaza. Yeah, stop recklessly bombing Gaza and killing innocent women and children. You already got about 70,000 of them. So no, it's not about the elimination of Jews. Nobody's asking for that. We just want y'all to cut the bullshit. I'm telling y'all to cut the bullshit and stop the killing and mayhem and saying that you want all Jews to die. Do you hear how stupid you sound?
You want to talk about the shadow money that gets funneled through shadow nonprofits?
I gotta snap on some
There's multitudes of more money.
Man. So like I could just talk about the Central Fund of Israel as an example. I think 98% of all funding that went towards the settlement expansion project went through this specific 501c3.
All right, back to
they are 501c3.
You can get a tax rebate for this.
Insane.
Like the U.S. is really just a big fat cow for them to just suck dry.
Use and abuse.
Israel would not be able to do what it does. It would not be able to have the control that it has and function as a state without the free money that we're giving them every year.
Talk about the 1960s. The Israeli settlers, they moved in, they took over land, they took over people's homes, and still to this day, you have on camera Israeli settlers marching into Palestinian homes, sitting down, going into the fridge and saying, this is my house now.
What you don't know is that that's what Arabs do to them all the time.
Do you have video clips of that?
I can get you.
That's a lie. That's a lie. I actually looked it up, and there's not been one time where a Palestinian Arab was able to go inside an Israeli house and kick them out. Bro, the IDF will eliminate that man. What are you talking about, bro? Here, the difference between Arabs and the Israelis is that the IDF will back up the Israeli seizing of somebody's house. If an Arab does it, the IDF is going to kick that guy out. There's a difference. So even if that was happening, the way it's handled by Israel is completely different. One does it, they get support by the IDF. The other does it, they get executed by the IDF.
I don't document it, but I know people who do.
I mean, unlawfully, we had Rabbi Levinger cross into Hebron and then go into an inn, tell the innkeeper he's a Swiss tourist, and then all of a sudden wake up and say he's not leaving. And that was the beginning of the settlements. How is that not clear theft?
In Hebron?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like literally the worst example you're giving, by the way, because Hebron is one of the smallest Jewish communities.
There's no incident ever in the history of Palestine where a Palestinian is just attacking an Israeli anywhere in the West Bank. Like, because to your point earlier, they shouldn't be there in the first place.
Tell me how the Israeli settlers violate international law.
The fact that they're there in the first place is a violation of international law.
There's no pressure by the international community to hold Israel accountable for anything. Israel has us by the throat, and we can't and we won't hold them accountable. And if anybody else, if any of the other Arab nations try to do anything to Israel.
The last president that tried to hold Israel accountable got a bullet to the head. He tried to put the AIPAC group, which I guess was called the Zionist Lobby back in the day. I know when there was a little bit more upfront about their intentions. Yeah, he tried to put that group under FARA, and then he also tried to get these guys to have he also tried to get an inspection done on their nuclear program that he knew they had, that they were denying, but he kept on getting proof that they had. And yes, JFK was against Israel having nukes. And he was explicitly screaming at their prime minister at the time, like, bro, you better not be effing playing with me. I keep getting this reports that you have a nuclear weapons program, and I'm about to investigate it. And then all of a sudden, the man ends up getting shot in the head in public. And then the next president that comes in, Lyndon B. Johnson, just hands over Israel, gives Israel everything they want. No FAR registration. He ignores the nuclear program, and everything's all good all of a sudden.
We'll sanction them. We'll remove.
Make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support.
Their funding. We might attack them.
By international law, is it legal for these settlers to be in the West Bank?
100% yes. With the caveat that it is disputed.
Because in 1967, Israeli Prime Minister actually was against the settlements because he said it directly violates the Geneva Convention and international law.
In order to answer that question, you actually have to go to what is actually.
And shout out to LY Mars. He says, if you don't have a problem with the way what Izzy is doing, hold on, you say, if you don't have a problem with the way what Izzy is doing, you'll be okay with anyone walking in your house and saying it's mine now. The supremacy is crazy. Yeah, pretty much. It's like you'll be okay with anyone walking in your house saying it's mine now. Yep, I'm literally, if you don't have a problem with what the Israelis are doing, that means you're literally saying, well, all right, cool. Anybody can walk in your house and just say it's mine now, and you're going to give it over. Why? Because they're the chosen people? And imagine they just hit you with that. Like, yeah, because I'm the chosen people. I'm like, bro, I could choose you to get the fuck out my house, but no, they're looking you dead in your face and telling you, I'm the chosen people. The army's coming soon to back me up on me being the chosen people and why I deserve your land. So get on up out of here. And there you go. That's the life of Palestinian. Tough, ain't it?
International law that is binding.
The Israelis control all of their.
I like the way you put it there. You said Izzy for Israel.
The resources there, the water, the electricity. For 1 day per week, they get running water. The other 6 days of the week, they have to live off of water tanks. You would see empty water tanks on the side of the building, but they had bullet holes in them. They would drive by and shoot up the water tanks so that they don't have water the rest of the week.
Here, even the water is controlled. Israel's national water company, Mekorot, holds a complete monopoly over the West Bank's water supply. Because Palestinians are forbidden from drilling deep wells and require Israeli permits to dig on their own land, they have to buy their water back directly from Mekorot or rely on bringing in expensive water trucks. Now, Palestinians are only given water every 7 to 10 days, so their roofs are covered in black tanks to hold water in case the supply is cut off completely. But if you look nearby at the illegal Israeli settlements, they are plugged into the same Mekorot grid, and they are given 24/7 access to that water to do anything from fill swimming pools to water their lawns in the desert. Folks, make no mistake, this water monopoly is just another weapon in this apartheid system. But are you familiar with the water company Mekorot?
You know what's so crazy, bro? Let this have been Muslims, bro. Let Muslims be acting this wild. Oh my God, you would hear about it every freaking day if Muslims was to act this freaking wild and start taking land from Jews and Christians and kicking them off their land, talk about we're the chosen religion or some bullshit like that. Like, could you imagine if like Muslims did the same effing thing, but everybody be losing their mind? But, oh, it's the Israelis, let it be the Jews, and all of a sudden it's all good now. Shoot, they even got Christian support coming outside of our country of like, what, millions of dollars supporting their efforts in the West Bank. We have Christians, Americans supporting this. That's what's going to baffle me right there. And guys, don't forget to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support. All right, let's read this. How one Israeli company controls and cuts off Palestinian access to water in the West Bank. July 2025. For 100 days, Palestinians in the occupied West Bank town of Inda have been surviving without running water. The town's water crisis was provoked by the April decision of Israeli national water company Mekorot to reduce the daily provisions of water to the Hebron governance of southern West Bank. The supply shrank from 32,000 cubic meters to 26,000. Which included completely shutting down Mekorot's water line in Inda. Hey, basically, F the Palestinians, y'all ain't getting no water.
Mekorot, yeah.
Palestinians' own water supply, it appears that the Israeli settlers receive 82% of the Palestinian water, and that furthermore in the summer, the Palestinians they have a certain well distance they're prevented of digging from where the settlers are not restricted in that same manner, and that the Palestinians in their own land are restricted to water where the settlers are not.
I'm trying to take this seriously because this is literally the biggest sham that I've seen that goes out to people around the world. The nation of Israel, right? The country of Israel, it pipe and pump water into the Palestinian PA-controlled area in the West Bank and in Gaza with zero compensation from the Palestinians that use that water. Every year comes to the Israeli Knesset and they dispute the money or the debt that has been incurred because of the usage of all the water and the electricity. So both the electric company, which is only one electric company in Israel, we provide free water, free electricity to the PA, and every year
and bro just lying out of his ass, because it's so funny when you get to these pro-Israel guys, they just lie out their ass, and they do it because they know nobody's going to check them on it, because a lot of people truly want to believe that the Palestinians are just these evil group of people, and they don't want to hear anything else. They don't want to hear the truth. They've already been sold that the death of these people is okay, and if they've been, I'll be real with you, if you bring them to the light, I don't think a lot of them can handle it. Why? Because you've co-signed the death of innocent people. So you're gonna, I'll be real with you, you're gonna do anything to hold on to that belief. But Israel seizes 84% of West Bank water, worsening crisis for Palestinians. The PLO reports warns of worsening water crisis as Israeli authorities and illegal Israeli settlers destroy water wells and cut supply to over 70,000 Palestinians. Damn, that's like the same amount they killed in Gaza. Oof.
These companies bring the debt to the Knesset and say, this is the outstanding debt from years past. And the government basically says, tough crap. And you know what they do to compensate?
Hold on. This is grimy. According to the Bureau, 52% of the West Bank's water is divided to Israel. Well, my bad, is diverted. 52% of the West Bank's water is diverted to Israeli use, while another 32% goes to illegal settlements, and Palestinians are left with just 6%, triggering severe supply gaps, especially during hot summers. Yeah. But these are God's chosen people, though, right? Doing this to, I guess, what, God's people? Like, we're all God's people at the end of the day. So doing this to God's people is insane, and this should be condemned, but it's not, and it's being championed.
And the government basically says, tough crap. And you know what they do to compensate? They charge me more on my electricity and on my water.
Sometimes I just wonder, like, what would a true red-blooded conservative American that really does believe in the same values that we believe, right? Like, you know, liberty, justice, freedom, defending yourself, right?
Yeah. Dignity, honor, just basic things.
It makes me wonder, like, what would they do if they were under the same circumstances, you know? Like, it's just, it's wild.
I'll tell you what they'll do. We did a lot for a lot less. For tea, we literally, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the difference, right?
Is resisting anti-Semitic?
Personally, I don't think so.
Why are these older Christians so captured and invested in Israel?
We need to talk about John Darby and his creation of the theological ideology of dispensationalism, which is the idea that God has two different groups of chosen people.
Two different.
He has the Christians, the church, and then he has the Jews. And so that's where Christian Zionism comes from, is from Darby.
Let's break down the mechanics of how Christians are actually funding this brutality you are witnessing. You see, Israel developed a brilliant plan. They do not have to convince the entire American public to participate in the settler movement. They just have to influence how our pastors think. What they do is fly thousands of pastors out to all expenses paid trips to Israel. And when they get their message across, these pastors return to the United States, where they proceed to funnel hundreds of millions of dollars annually into the settler movement. And the reason pastors do this is they believe that Jewish settlement of these areas is necessary to bring about the second coming of Christ. So
I mean, yeah, we got Americans literally paying to break international law.
Essentially, to fulfill this prophecy, they are willing to enable the persecution and suffering of thousands along the way. It's actually insane to read about Jesus in the Bible helping the sick and the broken, and then to look up and see these American churches funding a movement that does not seem to respect Christians or even obey the 10 commandments. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's property. I thought we had shared Judeo-Christian values. The cognitive dissonance is hard to understand.
So with
the funny thing is, like, they're Jews, and that's First Testament. So I mean, they should know better.
That in mind, Christian Zionists.
Oh, and double tap that screen to like the video, guys. Let's get more people in the conversation by double tapping that screen.
Think they have this fear through cognitive dissonance that if they oppose Israel for whatever reason, whether they're committing genocide blatantly in the open or not, they're turning their back on God. And that is deathly fearful to their mind. thinking to themselves, if I curse Israel, if I go against Israel, even if they commit a genocide, I'm going to go to hell maybe. They're just willful idiots to them. They don't care about Christianity. They don't care about Jesus. They hate Jesus. They don't care about America.
Guys, it is fascinating to watch Christian Zionists supporting Israel. After all, it is not going so well for Christians over in that part of the world. For start,
and as a guy who, well, I ain't gonna lie, I'm in the middle of a Christian and a Muslim, but I believe in Abrahamic God, and it is a bit blasphemous to me to even sit there and suggest that our God would want genocide on this earth. It's especially since the coming of the messenger Jesus Christ. It's blasphemous to even think that he would want anything like this.
It appears it is culturally normal for Jewish adults and children to spit on Christians. And even Officer Tatum, a known Israeli mouthpiece, told Benjamin Netanyahu to his face that he got spit on when he visited the Holy Land.
We had only one incident where a small child spit on one of the pastors.
And let's be real, Israeli spitting.
Now that is true. I have heard of that. California starting to drag on the water supply a little bit. And shout out to TB. She says, California keeps taking our water too. I'm going to start getting mad too. I mean, yeah, you have every right to do so. But thank God they're not doing it to the extent that the Israelis do it to the Palestinians. Thank God. Because, can you imagine only having to go a couple days without having water? You can't wash yourself, can't really clean up or anything like that because, well, they cut your water supply off and the rest of it is going to the chosen people and to illegal settlements.
Is the least of Christian concerns over there. The IDF routinely prevents Christians from worshiping, and Israel literally bombed the last remaining Catholic church in Gaza.
Tonight, a look at the damage to Gaza's only Catholic church after it was struck by Israeli artillery,
which resulted in the Pope calling the act outright barbarity. Folks, if you are pissing the Pope off, you have to be f***ing up big time. And the craziest thing to me about this is that American Christian Zionists are actively funding this. Their churches donate tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars a year straight to Israel. And it makes me wonder, are these people aware that they are raising money for people that appear not to even like them? Blows my mind.
And to your knowledge, what do
bro, the Jewish faith, let's be real, they kind of see you guys as idol worshipers. And the reason why they see the Christians as idol worshipers in the Jewish faith is because, well, one, they don't believe that Jesus was even the Messiah or God. So I don't even know how the hell we connect this whole Judeo values when the whole foundation of Christianity is believing that Jesus, the Messiah, is God. That's the whole foundation of it. So how do we have Christian Judeo values when they literally don't believe that about Jesus? They have the worst image and say some of the worst things about Jesus, but we share values with them. And they sit there and they spit on Christians. They've bombed churches in the West Bank and Gaza. So I'm sorry, but how do Christians get down with this? Because I'm confused. Because, like I said, I'm not even Christian and I'm offended.
Believe about Jesus?
From what I've heard, he's desecrating and human shit. Yeah, no, they see him as a false messiah.
Hey, and shout out to my man Bernie. He sent the thumbs up for 10 joules. And shout out to my man Movie Movements. He sent GG for 10 joules. I just seen him, guys. Appreciate the support.
Terrible narratives about Jesus and about his mother, about Mary. They call her a whore, a harlot. They call Jesus that he's a bastard, that he's burning in human excrement. They hate Christians more than they hate Muslims. It is very true that if a Christian were to walk down some areas in Jerusalem or other...
Because it's actually wild, believe it or not, I know they go to war with Muslims and Arabs all the time, but they actually do hate Christians more because they see them as idol worshipers. At least the Muslims, and they said it, I've heard rabbis say this out loud, at least the Muslims believe in one God, the one God that we have. Christians, idol worshipers. Who is this JC guy? He is a harlot. He is a heretic. I was like, hey, yo, whoa, chill on my man Jesus. But doesn't that let you know something? That they actually religiously align more with the Muslims than Christians. Just let that sink in real quick.
That they would be spit on. You see, imagine a mother, a father, and children. They tell them, hey, there's a Christian. Not even talking. They just.
And here's the thing. What's wild? At least under the Muslims, you were allowed to practice Christianity and Judaism. Of course, you got to pay a tax. That's back in the old days. But even in Muslim countries today, you're allowed to be a Christian, you're allowed to be a Jew, you can go to synagogues, churches. But for some reason, Israel's a bit different. I don't get that. It's like, it's wild. I remember, what was it, Tucker Carlson, when he dropped that bomb on Huckabee, and he said, there's more Christians that live comfortably in Qatar than in Israel. That's one, and that's wild to hear.
But together, they just all do it. It's like a common practice.
My name is Stephen Kapos, and I am a child survivor of the Holocaust in Hungary, Budapest. I was in hiding on false papers, etc., which happened after October 44. Soon after, our location was caught up in the fighting between Germany and the invading Soviet troops. So we had double jeopardy. I think that's an important background to understanding Gaza, because I can relate to their experience both of the destruction and the fighting, as well as the insecurities of hiding.
Yes. Are you Jewish?
I am indeed.
Would you consider yourself to be anti-Semitic?
Of course not.
And I don't either. But this is how you're going to be labeled and I'm going to be labeled just for speaking out about Israel. Have you gotten attacks like that before?
Yes, I have.
How ridiculous do you find them?
Well, totally ridiculous. But my family lost 15 people to the death camps.
In your assessment, do Israelis view Palestinians in the same way that Germans